Hello, look at me being consistent. Welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. We are going to be doing August tarot predictions for your zodiac sign, and I would prefer you apply your moon sign. You can apply your sun, rising, Venus, all of that, but I think moon is best. I know that Mercury goes retrograde in August, I believe. I know Venus is already retrograde during the whole month of August, and I know there's a full moon in Aquarius and a new moon in Leo. So, a loaded month. I think Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo. Yeah. Things first is we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have King of Pentacles reversed, Queen of Wands reversed, 10 of Wands upright. We have Judgment card, Queen of Pentacles reversed, Ace of Swords reversed, the Hierophant, and the Hermit. I sense a lot of exhaustion for fixed placements. Obviously, it makes sense because, you know, Venus is retrograde, so you're having this huge reassessment period already about your passions, your desires, and what is working for you versus what is no longer working for you anymore. I think you're just incredibly drained with a certain project or a certain passion of yours. Like, you're coming to this realization that something that you really loved or you really believed you wanted, like, to work out for you, it's like more draining than worth it. I think there's a lot of confusion too, because it's almost like maybe a passion-based project or a relationship dynamic. It's like something just doesn't work anymore. No matter how hard you try to fit the puzzle pieces together, it's not kind of aligning. And I feel like there's a lot of burden on your shoulders. I think that's something you need to lean into that's going to be very prosperous for you, is one, protecting like your peace a little bit this month. I'm not going to say that August is more ideal for you to be antisocial and not do anything, but I do think there are some benefits to like kind of focusing on yourself more this month and not being super focused on big social events, especially financially wise. Like, I feel like you need to cushion or protect your finances or spend a little less throughout this time period, because I just get a sense that you're feeling drained or you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders and you've been trying to release that or work through that, but it's almost like nothing's changing. I think you hit this wall, you have all these obstacles happening, but I think that towards the end of the month, your conclusion or your solution to feeling like this is that you need to like go back to school, or you need to learn a new skill, or you need to just crack open those books and start expanding your knowledge around a topic that you feel very passionate about, but you don't feel like you are being currently as successful with. This could even be like a self-help relationship book if you feel really just distraught over a certain connection and you're trying to make things work. Maybe even considering therapy, something around just like expanding your philosophy or your mindset. It could really open a lot of doors for you. For small business owners or people trying to monetize on hobbies or push out new hobbies or interests, and you feel like they're not being I don't know, maybe you're trying to paint, but you're not satisfied with how your paintings are coming out, or maybe you're trying to be big on TikTok and you've been doing all of the, you know, buying the fancy software, doing all of the videos, and you just don't feel like nothing's like sticking. I feel like you could benefit from doing more research or more studying in August, keeping to yourself a little bit more, watching your finances and doing more research, because I feel like there's something around a new skill set that you actually hone in on and you actually work towards that's going to open a lot of doors for you. But I feel like you have to kind of humble yourself in a sense and go back and do the footwork again. And I think you're a little frustrated about having to, because I feel like, you know, you were very careful. You thought that you already had like a certain formula of doing things. So kind of feeling a little defeated, I think is probably what you're experiencing. But I do think that there's going to be some big opportunity waiting by the end of the month. Like, I feel like maybe a video goes viral by the end of the month and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting this. Or you're working on some art and you post it online and maybe someone's like desperate to buy it and you're like, what is happening? Like, something really obscure happens at the end of the month, and I think it kind of coincides with the fact that you have to like let go of a lot of stuff throughout the month. Like, you have to let go of your, I'm not saying standards, but your specific ideas that you've kind of had for how other people should be, or how your goals should kind of like how fruitful they should become. I feel like there's been some kind of I don't know, like you have very specific ideals, you know, your fixed signs. So when things don't necessarily go directly into those ideals. I think you can become very discombobulated. But I think learning to just like release a lot of your preconceived notions or expectations about things and just kind of take things day by day. In a sense, it's almost like humbling yourself a little bit. I feel like you're going to be able to see things much more clearly when you let go of kind of your pride, in a sense. That is my very quick reading for you. I hope this was helpful. It's a little brief, but yeah, you need to reassess certain responsibilities, watch your money. I feel like you're overworking at work. Maybe you're doing other people's jobs for them. There's some kind of conversation that needs to happen. But I do think that towards the end of the month, you start kind of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. And then this reading is for my cardinal signs: Page of Swords, Justice, Ten of Pentacles reversed, Temperance reversed, Seven of Cups, the Magician, Ace of Wands. Cardinal signs, you have a lot. I keep getting this impression that like the world it's feeling like your oyster this month. Like if you're single, I feel like your phone is getting blown up with people trying to take you on dates, people trying to pursue you. I feel like maybe you have many work colleagues that are appreciating you or letting you know how great you are at your job. I feel like you're getting a lot of flowers this month. You're getting a lot of accolades. People are going out of their way, and you feel like you have many options presented to you. However, I feel like you kind of got stuck in this hamster wheel of having so much flattery and so many options kind of at your disposal that you've become very focused on like needing to people please or manufacture how you do things or how you present yourself to kind of keep funneling into these different avenues to essentially please everyone's expectations of you, because they're giving you such radical feedback about how you're superseding their expectations. And I feel like for you that's like something that baits you into like, okay, let me do more, let me go harder, like let me be even like more achieving with these areas and really impress them. If they think that's impressive, let me impress them more. Like it's very cardinal energy of you. But I think it's leading to a lack of boundaries with certain people, where people are becoming very expectant of you to move mountains for them, while they don't expect that from anyone else, and they don't reciprocate that back onto you. And I think what this is doing is a huge disservice, because you're essentially leading yourself into a very cryptic and resentful internal dialogue throughout the month, where you're just like, the more you start doing, the more exhausted you feel, but you keep doing it because you again, like you want to impress people, or you like feeling needed, or you like feeling useful or helpful, all of those things. But I feel like you're beginning to have a very unhealthy mental space. So the biggest thing I'm looking out for with this month is your mental space, and could come to a realization that you have to pivot away from like your career entirely towards the end of the month, or maybe something about your career needs to be altered heavily. I don't think that your finances look bad. I don't see anything popping up about like being careful with your finances. I don't see anything necessarily too negative about your friends, family, or love life, but I do feel like lots of people want a lot of things from you right now, and you are just one person. So I think that's something that you need to be very careful with. On one hand, people are being a bit selfish with you, but I also feel like you can't expect people to read your mind and continue to do things you don't want to do without vocalizing, because most likely you're an adult watching this and not using your words. And it's almost like, yeah, I think that they're being kind of opportunistic, but I also think that you need to use your words and essentially put up those boundaries. Like it's almost like shame on them for being so demanding of you, but also shame on you for not putting those boundaries in place. Like no one is necessarily a victim in this situation. No one is necessarily a villain. It's more of just a very poor communication system that you're adhering to. So that was a little tough love. I usually don't go that harsh, but so hopefully that was helpful. I hope you have a good month, and live, laugh, love. Mutable signs. I always say mutable signs, very weird. People make fun of me. I think it's, some people go mutable signs. Knight of Wands, Death, the Fool reversed, Knight of Swords reversed, the Chariot reversed, the Star reversed, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Eight of Cups. God, you guys got a lot of cards. I think I overly shuffled for you. The Devil reversed, Seven of Wands reversed, Ace of Pentacles. Jesus Christ. Okay. So in many ways, feeling like a failed expectation. There's an imminent change or release of a bad habit that's happening this month. You're very cynical about something. You're fatigued and burned out this month with your job. You're like very frustrated about your employers or the work that you're being assigned, or certain colleagues are just acting very immature, unprofessional. You're just like in a situation where you are very fatigued with the circumstances that are presented to you. And I think you had unhealthy coping mechanisms to navigate or deal with your work life due to just being so stressed out and feeling stuck. You've been feeling very stuck. Like, I think especially, you know, things in the world right now, if you live in America, it's like the recession and inflation and things like that, and lots of stuff. So I feel like you're in this headspace of like, I have to just stay here, I have to just do this. And I do think you're beginning to put down building blocks to start fixing up your resume, to start applying to places. I think you're just reaching a point of you're done. And I think for a while you felt like it was the only way and the only option for you, but I feel like something happens this month where you just kind of snap and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I get the impression that it's like you're working so much and you're so exhausted that you come home and like you're overspending on takeout because you're stressed, you want to treat yourself, or you're drinking a little too much, or, you know, doing like extracurricular stuff a little too hard, and then like it's almost like you've had these unhealthy coping mechanisms as a way to mentally escape from your reality. But the truth is, it's making you a little bit mentally and physically, maybe even a little sick. Like maybe you're more susceptible to colds because you're always overworked and you don't eat and you don't drink enough water and you don't sleep enough. Like, you know, it's like all of this stuff is very emotionally and physically demanding on you. And I think that you're reaching a point where you're done, and you know that you're about to change. Like, you know that the situation is about to crumble. Like, you can't continue the rate that you're going. And I do think in many ways you do begin to start building yourself up towards the end of the month. I think your money's good. I don't want to like come off completely doom and gloom. I think your money's good. I think you're just tired of the work that you're assigned. And I think you're just not passionate about what you used to be passionate about in this area of your life. And also, like, I think you're realizing it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to make different decisions. Mutable signs specifically, I feel like maybe in the past you've gotten a lot of slack about moving jobs too frequently or being seen as like the flaky friend or something. And even though that's not necessarily true, I feel like sometimes now you make yourself do things you don't want to do to prove that you're not that way, and all it does is like burn you out. So it's better for you to be true to yourself than to stay in a dynamic that is just not healthy for you. It's not a helpful situation. Now, this doesn't have to entirely mean career. This could mean something around your environment that again is making you feel or process through this in very unhelpful ways. And you do have to kind of make a pivot and redirect your energy or put it in something new. It could be a relationship dynamic. However, I do kind of get the sense it's about work. Granted, you could have like a relationship dynamic that you put a lot of work into as well. So it really, like, I feel like you're going to know the specific situation I'm describing. I'm just leaning towards the work or something about how much energy you've put into something and how little you feel you've gotten in return is a vibe of this month. But I do feel like I also see you freeing yourself of this situation towards the end of the month. And even if you don't actually do a whole 180 and change everything about it this month, I do think you begin to start thinking of how you can remove yourself from the situation. And I do think like you start, you know, putting things in place so that you can like live a healthier life and just feel happier within your circumstances in general, as you should. So I hope that was helpful. It was a little intense, but, you know, to be fair, we got a lot of astrology being funky right now, so yeah.